Look at you, Carrie Champion. Where might you be? You always somewhere. You stay in these streets.
I do, and that is why I ain't got no man, right? Stay in the street. No, I. This is, by the way, this has got to be our running joke. I think I've created a bit of a ditty, and ooh, can we say that? A song. We can't say that now, can we? Create a song for people being in my business and why I ain't got no man and all the answers. But I'm in LA. I'm down the street from you. What are you talking about?
Look at that. Okay, I didn't know if you were still here because you stay on some jet setting type of
I
thing.
do. No, I'm in LA. I'm flying back to New York today,
Okay,
and then I'm taking a vacation for my birthday. I'm going to.
that's right, everyone. Carrie has a wonderful birthday coming up. You are not somebody, I don't know how to, sometimes I'm a little confused how you actually feel about your birthday. Sometimes I get the sense that you don't like it. Sometimes I get the sense that you
Yeah, I'm
do.
like, put that down. I don't need everybody talking about happy birthday. Two things are happening, friend.
Okay.
With me, I don't mind a birthday wish. I just don't like the bullshit that comes with it, where people go,
Okay.
"How old are you? What are you doing? Why you ain't doing this?" There's all this other shit, and I'm
You
like,
just
oh,
don't want people in your business. Is that what
that's.
it is?
And I feel like once I say one thing, I have to start. But now, it's a new season of my life. You have to start giving. You got to start sharing a little more. I'm a little more comfortable
Okay.
sharing, and we'll get to this later on in the podcast because the women that I'm looking at who say the things that I feel are very well, like comfortable in their own skin. I'm like, well, she said it. How come I can't say it? You know what I
That's
mean?
right. You can. You have every, like, listen, you have put your time in on this planet through experiences, through all the things you've been through, and that alone makes you deserving of being able to tell the truth however you see it, because it applies to your life. And after you get to a certain point, you just be out of what. I
Yeah, you're
mean,
right. Y'all get on my nerves. Yeah,
exactly.
I ain't trying to hear y'all.
Exactly. How was your Memorial Day weekend
Oh,
otherwise?
it was so good. So I was here. I came to LA last week. I'm having some family business. And I have been here relaxing ever since. This sun really did my body good. I have to tell you, New York is about to miss me because I came here and I sat out in the sun all day. I got
I
a
love
little,
this.
and I love that. I still got a little tan. I don't feel like I need no makeup or nothing. Just out here, fresh face, happy to live. And I was like, oh, I have to come back home. It just makes sense. It just is easier. It makes sense. Although I still want to keep a place in New York. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on keeping a place in New York, like a hop in and a hop out.
Mhm.
And then I'll be here when I'm here. You know what I mean?
Well, again, I love this for you. I love the sun for you. I love that you're able to, have this sort of bi-coastal living experience. That's always great. Let me tell you what I did this Memorial Day weekend. This is how I know, like, I knew I was washed, Carrie. Like, well, one, you invited me to hang out with you on Memorial Day weekend.
Can I
And
say something?
go ahead.
Jemele has been, speaking of jet setting, every time she comes to New York, I'm in LA. It's really funny. And we
It
just miss
is.
except for the Met Gala, which prompted this, our Met Gala after party.
Right.
So I'm on the phone with Jemele, and Jemele wants to, I mean, fuck it. She wants to plan me a party for my birthday, a birthday party. God bless his soul. And I'm like, I am the typical Gemini. There's only 4 people that make me feel safe in the world. So I'm going to have a party with 4 people. No, what's the point? This is all my shit. Has nothing to do with anybody. This is my shit. Jemele puts together a birthday list. She doing her things. And then she adds another birthday list and she just adding and adding and adding. And I'm all like, wait, I told you I was going to send you a list. Why you do that?
I know I did not. I made some assumptions I shouldn't have, but this is but it leads back to the funniest story of why we jokingly say the phrase and pardon the language, although not pardon it. I mean, it is what it is. Only people you fuck with heavy.
We had a party. You got to tell them about the
I
party.
will, because that was also your birthday, right?
No, it was just
it was just a party to celebrate.
I put a party to celebrate. I put a party together some years ago to celebrate just all the women in my life, and I was just like, let's just all go to dinner. My treat. If you're fabulous, show up. And all my fabulous friends literally a bizarre world today.
I know, because I usually right? The one with makeup, but you have such amazing skin, by the way. So
yeah, but you must got a date tonight.
No, I had work to do earlier, but anywho.
So I put together this party and I invited one. It's always one. You always invite one person who really shouldn't be together at this very intimate gathering. And this person was at the gathering and was telling all my business, was talking about men I had been with, what was going on with me in my life. And everyone who knows me, everyone who fucks with me heavy, that's where the term came from, knows like we don't do that. We don't just.
So let me ask you this. Was that person that you invited, were they somebody you were borderline about inviting, or that had you always thought, oh, they were?
They were borderline because I had just started hanging out with that person. So it was everybody who was at the party that I love. It was Jemele Hill, Kelly Carter, Bozema St. John, our friend Christine Simmons, Kendra Carter, my dog. She didn't end up showing up, I don't think. And then we just ended up bumping into a lot of people who happened to be, it was a dinner reservation, and a bunch of people were in the restaurant in LA, some LA stuff. And we were all going around the table saying what we loved about everybody. And then somehow it evolved into them giving me these compliments. And then the girl just was like, I remember when you was with old boy and we didn't
started telling business. And what was so funny about this is that those of us who fuck with you heavy already knew. As soon as old girl started talking about some old work, we already knew that this was about to go so sideways.
You all were trying to stop her from telling.
We kind of were.
You guys were like, hey, so next thing.
Yeah, we were like, yeah, so, like moving on. And at the look on Carrie's face, you were one just, I think if I don't know, maybe in a different environment, you might have split old girl's wig, because that was what your face was saying.
I was so mad.
I was super heated. But you kept it together, and then you made the comment and you were like, yeah, I'm just glad you guys are here. You really have been dear friends to me, blah, 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 blah. And I forgot I know the phrase you fuck with me heavy, but you said something before that where you were where you let her know in that moment, you ain't one of them people.
But the best part, y'all, is that Jemele and Kelly got so uncomfortable because apparently I made the room uncomfortable. They started eating their salads to their face. They were like
very fast. Like suddenly that salad was the most interesting thing in the world. And I was like, ooh. Listen, I hope that we don't have to say this as etiquette, but in case we do, in mixed company in particular, or really any company, don't bring up nobody's old work. Like, don't even do that. Don't even do that.
You should never. Like, I have enough sense to be like, I'm at my homegirl's house. I hang out with her. She got a new man. I'm not bringing up no old work. I'm not bringing up her old man, even if they still cool. It's nobody's business until I know the coast is clear. I'm allowed to say. Very similar to how Ian asked me, Ian is Jamele's husband, asked me if we had strippers at Jamele's bachelorette party.
And you know what? See, this is why my husband is not slick, right? So here's the thing. I told him there was entertainment, right? What he was trying to do was trying to see if my friends will lie for me. And like, okay, so that's why he baited Carrie and was like, so, he asked about what happened at the bachelorette party. And I told him that, like, yeah, we had some entertainment and just like left it at that. And I was like, everything was above board, it was all good. And he wanted to just test you. And that's why he asked you, like, oh, did y'all have some strippers there? And Carrie, because this is my motherfucking dog, right? Carrie says, she was like, no, we were reading Bible scriptures all night.
I was like, strippers. I was like, is he serious right now? Like, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know Jamele's one of these wives that tells her husband all the things. And I was like, I'm all set. I'm all set. I don't know what's happening. What are you asking me? What are you asking me, Ian? He was like, you a liar. I was like, I'm going to lie for my friend. I don't know. I don't want to be in this group chat. I'm out of it. You didn't put a subscribe to Carrie Champions.
I did. Yours was going for the first, just so you missed it. I had it going. I'm going back and forth, miss, just so you know.
My lady's doing me dirty.
That is not true.
But I wanted to mush Ian in the face, very similar to how the president got mushed in the face by his wife. Did y'all see that? The president.
Yeah, so in case you guys haven't seen this is quite interesting. This is the president of France. You see, he's not the one who just opened the jetway. That's obviously. Oh, there he is. You guess. then that hand right there. Then he tried to come out and play it cool. So the hand was his wife. And I'll show that for y'all again in case y'all missed it. All right, here is the person opening the door, and just look behind you, and you see a whop, and then he tried to play it off, and everyone has seen the fact that yes, homie, you might be running the country, but you clearly ain't running shit in your house. All right, not at all.
She mushed him in the face. So I have to jump in here because Jemele sends me a text with some very important information, which provides context to why she was mushing him in the face. Their age difference is significant.
Staggering.
The wife is 72 and he is 47.
I had no idea.
They met when he was 15 because her son was the classmate of the now French president. So it's like your mom making snacks for you and your homeboy when y'all teenagers, and then later in life, she decides to date, then marry him. You're like, Mom, how are you dating my classmate? And how did you marry my classmate who is now the French president? It's wild. All of that is so wild, Jemele.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. So the French president has since come out and said that, that they were just playing around and that this was not what it looked like. And this is an indication of social media taking things too far. Do you buy his explanation?
Nah, hell no.
Yeah, I don't either. Like that.
Yeah. We all have been in a relationship. I haven't done something physical like that in public, but we've all done something in a relationship where we're like, you could tell they just got done fighting. The energy of how she's walking down the steps, like, I'm not holding your hand, knowing dang well she need to hold his hand because she looking like she about to fall down them steps with those heels on. And she's trying to play it off and he's playing it off too. And he's like, hey, wife, how many times have we seen this with the current administration? I could tell a look when a couple ain't happy, the woman can't ever, she rarely can play that off. Rarely.
Right.
Somebody's upset. We've seen this before.
And listen, we have all been in relationships where we have done that, where you may have had a fight in the car. You may have had an argument the previous day.
You mush somebody in the face?
Well, I have not done that. I mean, I've only, and this was about to sound real bad.
I was about to say, I know you mush somebody. I've
only hit a man once, like I should be doing that regularly. Yeah. I didn't mean it to sound that way.
He definitely stiff-armed a man. She definitely
did. Yeah. I don't think that was playful at all. I agree with you. In general, I am of the strong belief everyone keep their hands to themselves. 100%. And like in a disastrous relationship that I had, and it was among the many reasons why I knew I had to get out of this relationship, is that I had someone who, I think I told part of the story last week, is like that person I was referring to, they did something awful. They read my journal. And when I found out they had weaponized the information to the point where it cost me a friendship over it because of how they had weaponized the information, we were in a very heated argument about it. And I told him he needed to leave my place. I was like, you need to leave my place right now, because I could feel, and Carrie, you know me, I don't really get mad that often. Like, it happens very rarely. But when I blow a stack, I'm going to make that shit worth it. 1,000%. I'm getting all the whatever I have buried inside. I'm getting all of that. And so he, once I told him to leave, I told him 3 times. I was like, you need to leave. Either you leave or I'm calling the police. Right. And this was, I was like, either you leave or I'm calling the police or whatever. And he still refused to leave. I picked up the phone to call the police and he snatched the phone away. That's a no-no, right? And so he snatched that phone, and just reflexively, I wasn't even thinking in my mind, I'm about to sock old dude. I'm jawing him. I wasn't even thinking that. Before I could even stop my physical reaction, I literally just swung. I just swung on him. And and luckily he swooped back because I was getting all jaw.
We can get her now. We can go ahead and take Jemele down. I'm talking to the cops.
You don't now. You telling on me?
I'm snitching. We can get her. We can get her now, guys. We got it. Okay. So no, Jemele.
Yes, that's the only time I have ever, and he swooped because he stepped back. I wound up hitting him in like the shoulder, like right here, because he was much taller than me, and so I just was like, okay, and then I was like, I'm serious. I was like, please leave my house, and he left after that because that wasn't something that is even remotely in my character. I don't do that. I ain't been in a fight since, dang, you know what? Oof. Now y'all gonna think I'm abusive because the last time I was in a fight, I was in, I think, 4th grade, and I choked this little boy out. Not totally out. He's alive. He's alive.
Always been mad at men your whole life, you say.
And the funny thing is that you said that you always been mad at me. It's not true, but the funny thing is that the little boy I choked out, his father is actually a pretty somewhat notable actor. And so,
you can say that without telling us who the actor is. Who?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you who it is because I think at this point, we should be able to laugh about this. But
by the way, it better not be the third extra from Good Times or something.
No, it's not the third extra. Vondi Curtis Hall. Okay, he has Vondi Curtis Hall. He was in Sugar Hill with Wesley Snipes. Oh Lord, we about to. Oh, you know who he was? I'm sorry. I need to tell the most famous reference of him. Vondi Curtis Hall. Remember it Coming to America, and Akeem was at the Knicks game, and he ran into the dude from his country. He was like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest day in my life." That is Vondi Curtis Hall.
To my point. From Good Times and made a guest appearance on Different Strokes. Okay.
He has quite a few credits, Carrie. Quite a few.
I'm kidding. When you have to do that, it cracks me up because you're like, do you remember the time when, like, I was hanging out with you and another person from Detroit, and he was trying to explain who somebody famous was, and he was like, okay, so Spike Lee, right? He used to work for Spike Lee's cousin. And I was like, what? What are y'all? How is that even? Do you remember? Y'all just give the most.
I don't remember who we were talking about.
Yeah, you will remember. Young Tinder, that fine Young Tinder I used to mess with.
Oh, okay. Dang. Yeah, yes. But who are we talking about?
His cousin was somebody famous, and you were trying to.
Oh, shoot.
And y'all don't remember who it was. And I was like, I have no idea who that is. But that's not the point. The point of the matter is that every now and again, if necessary, what I'm taking away from this story is that you will mush if necessary. Correct?
No, I will never mush. It is just, okay, let me give you some context because a whole lot of people in the comments are basically calling me abusive. I was like, listen, this is what happened. All right. The reason, this is 4th grade. All right. We are in 4th grade at Pyramid Elementary in Detroit, Michigan. And he called my mama a hoe, and that's why I jumped off the table. Well, am I not a little bit justified?
You are not. You can't talk about nobody's mama. Those are fighting words.
In 4th grade, absolutely. Somebody call your mama something.
Kids are so cruel,
and it's on, right?
Yeah.
And so
I okay. Listen, everybody.
Carrie, don't act like you ain't never scrapped before. I don't know why you up here lying.
Let me move my hair out of the way. I'm a lady. No, yes, of course. Yeah, I had a fight my senior year in high school, which was crazy. And I was a class president. Bizarre. I had a random.
Oh my God, the scandal.
The scandal of it all, but it was a quick fight in the auditorium and nobody saw. I wrapped that up real quick.
Oh, you made quick work of it.
I made quick work of it, and I didn't have to do it again because I don't want to mess up. I don't want to mess up my my moneymaker. But I will say I have been in a relationship, and I'm embarrassed to even tell y'all this, but I'm gonna tell you because it was the chemistry between me and this gentleman that Jemele knows. He used to piss me off so tough, and I didn't put my hands on him, but I do remember pulling out some, surely this is barber techniques in the sense of, I was like, you have to get all your shit up out of here. You got to get all your shit up out of here. And he wasn't moving fast enough. He was in my house and he came to see me, and he wasn't moving fast enough. And he was moving real slow and making fake phone calls because he wanted to try to explain it. I had just had it with him. and I took his suitcase and threw it down the stairs just with aggression, like you got to go, literally kicking you out. And I felt really, really bad about it. There was no physical contact, but like sometimes when you are in these situations, you just be losing it. And this was, I'm happy to say, over a decade ago. If you guys can refer to the lower third, that I'm a healed soul. What does it say about me? I'm a healed soul.
That you were
My best
healed.
friend. I'm healed now.
Okay.
She's healed now. She's healed now. That's what
Yes,
she's
sweet soul
healed
and best friend. Yes,
now.
exactly.
He's healed now. But no, yeah. So yeah, of course, we have all been in those situations where you like, let me excuse myself. This is some like I'm about to do some real stuff here. Like I have to excuse myself. And then of course, I have been in a situation where I don't know how much we can tell. I don't know how much.
People apparently love. Y'all can let us know in the comments. They get a kick out of our story time.
Oh yeah, our story time. Because we be talking about stuff that we've been through and I'm currently going through. I would never mash a man now. I have not been that angry where I've wanted to mash a man as of late. But the reality is that age difference, going back to this original story, like he probably got 2 or 3 other ones and she mad and she fed up and she don't really want to do this no more. But she has to be aware of the age difference. Your husband's 47, you are 72.
I mean, the age difference is one alarming thing. And I guess it does look different because he's well over 40. She's in her 70s. The part that is super alarming is the fact that she was scoping out one of her friends' classmates. Like, I'm sorry, man. What?
Her son's classmate, you mean?
One of her, yes, I'm sorry, not her friends, her son's classmate. That's what my mind is blown.
Yeah, like we could put the P word there. That's inappropriate. And when does it become appropriate? Here's a better question. Is it ever okay for someone who's older than you to date you when you're age appropriate? Does it feel like they have been stalking you? Because I know in high school, I don't know about you, all my boyfriends was 20 something. You know what I mean?
What? Did your mom know this?
No, they couldn't come over to the house. And I wasn't doing nothing. I was just being fast. They would just pick me up from school and drop me off from home. But back in the day, there was a time when you could be 17 and date a 21-year-old. You know,
I mean, that's a little different.
Yeah, but these dudes are like 20 something. It's like you really at 20 something now. I really would be appalled if a 20 something year old man was dating a 16 or a 17-year-old right now. And I know that happens. I just know it does. But I feel like, that Leo DiCaprio story, his last girlfriend that he was with for a long time, he knew her since she was 13. And when she turned 18, he was like ripe and ready.
I know, but the problem is, then you start to wonder what were they thinking what was he thinking when she was
13? You know what they was thinking? These men, look.
But see, that's what makes it creepy.
No,
that's what makes it creepy.
Look, Mel, keep it a buck. Since the beginning of time, women, when they were younger, were commodities. Women would be sold off into relationships since they were 15 and 14, 12, 13 years old. They were teenagers. Women would get sold into relationships long before Handmaid's Tales when they were teenagers to some older man, because especially if your parents didn't have enough money. I remember my great-grandmother said the first time she got married, she was 16. May she rest in peace.
Oh, wow.
It's a common thing. It's much more common than we think about. So I think when we see it in today's standards, because we know what's right and what's wrong, we're like, yo, is this crazy or what? Listen, here's the reality. There are 2 things about this story that I really like. I like that she's 72 and she got a 47-year-old.
We know you have said I do. You're like a young
king, but that's a little too young for me. 1, 2, though. But I like it because normally it's in reverse. It's normally the man dating a younger woman, and I'm like, let's stop doing this. Let women also live free. Let them free us. Let us be with you.
I guess it's to stand up for the men for a second is that they feel as if they are being unfairly persecuted when they choose to date young, as opposed to when women do it and it's seen completely differently.
No, we are so unfairly persecuted, excuse me. And
prosecuted too, depending, some of y'all gonna get prosecuted messing around with these youngins.
No, okay, so for instance, I am not dating seriously But I am dating someone now who is younger than me, but not by much.
Okay.
Just a few years.
Okay.
We got rid of responsible king because he was not
Oh,
responsible.
we got a new king. Oh,
I call him a prince.
okay.
And
He a prince. He ain't got to king status yet. Okay.
he's a fine young prince, and
Ooh.
but not that much younger than me. Not that much.
Okay. So fine younger prince is what it would be.
Fine younger prince.
Okay.
And I was hanging out with him while I was here in LA, and I said, "What is the old?" I just told myself. I just said, "What's the oldest you would date? Like, what kind of woman would you date? Like the oldest?" He looked at me and was dead serious, and he was like, "I date somebody in their up till their late 50s." But what he's talking about is a LA Hollywood late 50, like
Okay.
a
Like
knot.
an in shape kind of,
Somebody say, "Carrie, that was fast." Let me explain something to you. I always have a roster. Like when I want to call you up from the bench, I'll call you up and I put you in the game. But if you want to be in the game, you don't have to be in the game. Like I am a grown woman, Jemele.
Yes, you are. You are a super grown woman, and I told them when they was all telling you how you was gonna be lonely and not have a man. I was like, oh, they don't know Cari Lanithia Champion at all. They do not know.
Cari Lanithia Champion, and I don't know nobody named Lanithia, but hello to all my Lanithias if you in the group chat. Cari Lanithia Champion. I feel like but when you're like you always look. I learned. Look, I hope Ian ain't listening. Jemele taught me how to pimp.
What?
And he's right. A Holly Berry 50 plus is different. So that's what old boy was
That's
talking
what he's talking about, right?
He's like, yeah, I date a Sanaa Lathan. Who wouldn't? I date a
Regina Hall. She's
Regina Hall. I
50.
date a Nia Long. I was like, yeah, of course. You're talking about these special ones that live amongst us, of course. But the reality is that all it's saying is that age is starting, and years and years from now, 10 years from now, it won't even be an issue. Age is starting to be really different because we can look, the world is changing. You could look 20 and you ain't, you know what I mean? Clearly. I didn't think old girl was 72.
I honestly didn't, and I had seen them in public before, and I never put two and two
never
together.
Never thought that she was.
No, but I will say this though, is that like since we were talking about is it okay, as the question said, for someone older to date you once you are age appropriate?
Mm-hmm.
And in either, whether it's a man or a woman, to me, I don't like this idea where I'm just gonna wait until they get a certain age, because that means that
That's
even
gross.
when they're that age,
no, that's gross. That's laying in wait. It's gross.
That's laying in wait. Yeah. Like I remember a sports example. I know you remember her, Anna Kournikova.
Oh yeah.
Anna Kournikova, she started getting looks at 13, 14. It was grown men lusting after her. Mm-hmm. And she eventually married her childhood friend, Sergei Fedorov, who was already, a former hockey player for the Detroit Red Wings, for those who don't know. And they wound up getting together. Like literally her 18th birthday was still cold. Okay.
I think that we have to be honest about this. I do believe women, especially if they are in front of the camera, or beautiful women that are athletes or models or whatever, I do believe there are men who wait in theory. What did Russell Simmons get in trouble for?
I know.
You're always, look, back in the day before there were rules, people were doing what they wanted. Right. Like, yes, the Olsen twins. I think of many people. Like, I mean, we love a lot of people that are our heroes, and they were dating really young girls. I have a hard time believing that Diddy dated Cassie when she was 18. Like, I just have a hard time believing that. Like, and so I think that while I'm not saying it's acceptable, I think it's more commonplace than we know.
No, I think it happens a lot. And I also give room for the fact that age changes. Like as while I'm talking shit, I'm married to a younger man, right? Okay. And it's a 5-year age.
You turn 19. You waited until you turn 19.
No, I did not know that man before 2014. Okay.
Okay, so you 19. You've got a full year. You're an adult.
No, but we joke about it sometimes, because I'll realize like, oh my goodness, when I was 17, 18 years old, he was 13, and he was like, oh, you would have still hollered at me. I was like, I promise you, on everything that
no,
is
you would not have.
No. Okay. And I'm like, no, that would have never That would have never happened.
Age changes things as you get older, because once you hit a certain age, you're like, oh, I'm not that old. I thought that number felt old to me. I don't feel or look that old. Age is a huge thing that society puts on us. I am shocked by the 72-47. It's just really, really a lot. But I do know that, when I was talking about just, I don't necessarily look for younger men. I think that's what my energy attracts. So we talked about that earlier. But I also got to ask this question to the group chat. Like, I think the older I get, the more comfortable I am saying what I like. Before I would live on, hey, I like a young king. What's up? And Sophia Vagar said something that just really hit my spirit the other day, Jemele.
Yes, I will. This is what I hate to call her Miss Sophia, but this is what Miss Sophia said. Okay. She said, I want somebody that has as much money as me or more. It's a nightmare. They end up resenting you.
Ooh,
Sophia, now see, and the men, they were not happy with this statement at all.
No, did we even put up some of the comments? I bet you some of the comments were killing her.
Yeah, well, they will start coming in, I'm sure, as we
they have something to say.
Yes, but this is Sophia Vagar, who says, I want somebody that has as much money as me or more. Otherwise, she's basically like, it's uncomfortable. And I remember not too long ago in recent years when Lisa Ray kind of said the same thing. She said, no disrespect to those who are, making what they make. But she was like, I have to date a man at a certain level. Otherwise, things get real strange. And I'm like, okay.
What does she mean by strange?
Well, she's saying that she thinks that what winds up happening is that the guys who financially aren't where she is, they wind up wanting to, show her that they can play in the same sandbox, and they wind up going broke. And then she winds up having to curb how she does things, because then she becomes too aware of their finances. And then it's just a whole big mess. So she's saying it just doesn't work for me, because that dynamic, it winds up bringing a lot of insecurity, a lot of issues to the relationship, because they can't hang. And she's like, I'm not about to be out here funding somebody. So she's like, I find it much better to just stay with men who are in my income bracket, if not above.
Okay.
It seems like you have some thoughts.
Thank you, Jeremy. That's smart.
Jeremy says, yes, it's just her preference.
I think you have a preference based on what you've experienced. A preference for a man could be like, I don't want to date someone older than me. I prefer something that's a little more.
And I'm not mad. I'm not mad if they.
Men will have different reasons why they want to date someone younger than them. I don't mind that. That means, okay, great. I'm not for you. A lot of my friends, and I have too, but a lot of my friends are usually the breadwinners. Like, it just has happened. And they've created a dynamic with their mate that doesn't feel like they are less than. It feels very equal for all intent and purpose. However, there are the awkward moments. I know what it's like to have an awkward moment where you want to, I don't know, fly first class, and your mate's like, I'm not paying for that. And you're like, oh, I don't want, okay. Or you want to stay at a certain hotel and they don't want to stay at that hotel because they think it's too expensive. And you're like, gosh, I've been staying at this hotel for the last little simple things like that, or where you want to live, or the house you want to buy, or all the things. My finances, I don't care what anybody says, plays a really huge role.
Oh, it's like infidelity, I think, is still number one, but finance, one
B
is why people break up. So yes,
it's hard. And so I don't blame her for saying that. And I agree with her for saying that. I do believe that I don't want to be aware of this might be uncomfortable for you. Like, date your wage is a real thing. There used to be a comedian, Chris Spencer, shout out to Chris Spencer. He was like, I want every woman in the world to carry a purse and have the same amount of money in her purse. I don't want to see you running around here with this fancy purse and you ain't got nothing but dust in it. Like, do you have the same amount of money that's in that purse that you pay for? Like, I get what he's saying.
Right.
And it's so much, it's like, I don't want to have to, and it's not about changing your lifestyle, but I don't want to have to be aware about dancing around certain things because of a wage, what you make. It makes a relationship so unnecessarily uncomfortable in the beginning.
Yeah, and I mean, I think throughout. I mean, listen, I I was in a relationship with somebody who had far less means than I did, and they were still.
Was he $0 in the account?
I mean, he wasn't $0,
But she
but
was paying all the bills.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I was the one basically holding it down. And that was a real hard spot for me to be in because one, what happened is I started to lose respect for him. And the reason I started to lose respect for him wasn't because it was because it was a combination of him not even being remotely close to what I had, but he also didn't have ambition.
I was waiting for you to say
what it was.
word. Okay, time out. Let's just take a moment and define ambition. I was waiting for you to say that because it's usually not so much about the money, it's about the ambition and the hustle. Like if I see the potential, the earning potential, I literally am like, oh, I'm impressed. I see the earning potential. I can see all that. You don't want to, fall in love with the future, but you can see how people move, right?
Right.
So if you don't see ambition, you're like, is this about to be my life?
Correct. And so he was moving so shaky, the idea of financial stability seemed kind of impossible. And I will never forget this. And this is when I knew I was like, oh, we are not in this for long. Is that when we would go out socially with friends who were, frankly, a lot of them were my friends and were far, like we're pretty close, if not above my tax bracket. And so, you know how it is, you go out with people, y'all at dinner, y'all drinking, y'all doing all the things. And then the bill comes. And of course, naturally, a lot of, mostly when we go out and we're in those circles, somebody's man or some man is going to pay for it. Right. That's just what it is. Like for the most part, if you're going out with other couples, you know what I mean?
When someone's man doesn't pay, I'm being honest with you. I hate it. If there's a bunch of women out, I don't even care if I got it. If your man don't pay, I'm judging. I'm just judging. I don't know why people say it's not fair. I think a man should always pay when he's in the presence of women. I just do.
Ooh, that's gonna be one. I can't wait. That's gonna light up the chat. That's gonna light up the chat. So, so the bill comes, and we have been out with these friends before many times, and they were always the first to reach for the bill. And so, and I knew he ain't come close to having it. So under the table, I slid him my credit card so that he could pay for the bill.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew. I was like, what is my life right now? What is my life?
I've done that too. Jay, I've done that too. And that's why I was just like, I don't want that for me.
Yes.
And I also don't want my man to be cheap. It's not like when I'm out with me and my friends, the bill is $1 million. If you know you're going out with us and you get a feel of what the night's gonna look like, just brace yourself. Talk to me later about it. It's not like you do it all the time, but I don't want to turn to a man and be like, "You're paying for the bill, right?" Or all the men, like if we all got on couples and all the men don't put their cards down, I'm like, that's crazy. That's just crazy to me. That's just crazy.
And I can say that amongst couples for sure. But I know both scenarios in which you're speaking of, like when a man is out with women. Like I get that, but yeah, I can't think of the last time I was in a couple scenario where all the men didn't get together and pay the bill.
Well, they should.
I think of one.
It's not even. They should. And it's just because we're on a date essentially. But I don't like it when, and this has happened to us, where it's a bunch of us, and the women are paying, and it's like one or two men around. I just don't like it. Because we always pay. We just always do. We're not cheap. Women aren't cheap. We just spend the money. That's our problem too. We spend the money. But I'm just like, come on now. It's 2 men here and 5 women. Y'all can get together and spend it. We're not getting boo all around. Like,
right.
I mean?
And like, especially, I mean,
bottles on bottles.
Not like ridiculous. Like, let's just say we just all out and it's just a few rounds of drinks. Like, like big deal.
Get the drink. Get the drink.
So those are the situations that you run into, be it on, vacation. And
I don't want to run into that.
What'd you say?
I don't want to run into that.
Yeah, no. And again, like you said, somebody who makes you too aware of their finances and their struggle to the point, and if, there's like a significant gap between the two, to the point where you feel like you can't freely move the way that you want to move because you got to account for what the other person doesn't have.
You're bringing in responsible king. We went out on however many dates, and yes, he paid for all the dates, but I paid for a date just because I wanted to once, just because I wanted to.
Right.
I just split the bill evenly. Patrick, that's not a date. I'm not splitting my
I think
evenly.
he meant among the group. If there
Oh,
was like
okay.
a
All
group.
right.
Okay. Yeah.
I just feel like it just is so unnecessary. And at this stage in my life, I don't want to have to worry about who's paying for the bill or is the bill an issue. At this stage in my life, I'm not 20 and I'm not 30, and I'm definitely not able to sit up here and be like, okay, it's okay to split the bill. It just isn't when you're on a date. And I also think that what you understand is, I think if you have a good woman, that's never an issue. You paying for
Hmm.
her friends will never be an issue. That comes back to you 20-fold. Like,
Right.
you don't, it's not even an issue because we don't even move like that. Because it's not like we're cheap. We're just like, okay, good. Okay, thanks, babe. Got it. It brings me to this conversation. So this weekend when I was in LA, have you been to Damn, I Miss Paris?
What is that?
Gabby, our friend Gabby Union, and her
Mm.
husband D Wade, they've been working with Adair and Jason. Jason Bolden
Oh
is
yeah.
the stylist. Adair, his husband, they opened a place called Damn, I Miss
Oh,
Paris.
you know what? I knew they opened a
Across
place.
the
I
street
just
from-
didn't know what it was called.
It's across
Okay.
the street from your
Yeah,
you.
it's I knew it was by me, but I just didn't know
Yeah.
what the name of it was. Yeah.
It's across the street from your office. So I went in there and it was beautiful. It was a cute vibe. It was after the Kendrick concert. Everybody was outside doing their thing. It was really nice. Very, very chill, sexy vibe, different eclectic group of people. And I bumped into some people that we know. And I was in there and I was with my friend Tommy Crump. And Tommy's husband was there too. And so I was the third wheel. I'm sitting with them. I'm on a full date with them. And the bill comes, and I don't know, just out of habit, I just paid for it. He was like, and he got so upset with me. And he was like, why are you paying? What are you doing? Like, it
Mm.
really offended him that I paid the bill. And they're like family to me. So it didn't feel like, oh, make sure the man pays. It just felt like I was taking my
Like
my
you taking your family out.
yeah,
Yes, I
taking
get
my
it.
family out. It wasn't,
Right.
they're family to me, but he was very offended. And he was very clear that men do this. And I was like, people, I rarely see that kind of anger, come from men to show like you don't have to do that, because sometimes for a certain man it feels emasculating.
Yes. So that's the other part of the equation that I think men out there who are like kind of hesitant or just kind of not necessarily dismissing it, but like providing resistance to this conversation is, as much as some men would say they would be comfortable with a woman who, makes a lot more money than them or is in a situation where she's the significant breadwinner. The fact is, there are a lot of men who will resent you for that. And so it winds up.
You just said
Mhm.
that's
That's
what
what she said. Like, yeah, I mean, that was what she was saying.
who I was with when I bought my house.
Mhm.
And when I bought my house about 4 years ago, I remember calling him and telling him I bought a house, and I was so happy. And he's like, "Cool for you." His exact response, "Cool for you." And I knew
That
then.
was it?
Mhm.
Mm.
And I knew then I wasn't with the man I was supposed to be with. He wasn't happy for me. And then when he tried to get happy for me, and by the way, this man is rich in his own right. And then he tried to get happy for me. And I was like, okay, great. I'm glad you're happy for me. But there was a level of resentment at that stage in his life, because he wasn't working as much. He wasn't doing the things that he wanted to do. And there was just a level of resentment he had. And I never understood why that's a thing, because if you're in any kind of significant relationship, there will be times when one person will make more than the other. If the man's the other breadwinner all the time, great. But you might be with somebody where your woman is making more money than you this season. And then the next season, you're going to make more money than her. But at the end of the day, that was a huge accomplishment for somebody like myself, to do that on my own. And I was really, really happy I was really proud of the accomplishment. And he was just really dismissive. And I was like, oh, he resents me. He resents
Mm.
that I have something. And that's a real,
Mm.
what she said wasn't fake. They may not show it, or they may not feel like, but it's a real thing. So, and it's not even about how much they make. Sometimes it's just the man. Like, that's the part I kind of disagree with her with. there are plenty of men who make a lot of money who don't care if you buy a house, but there are also plenty of men who make lots of money and they date women who have money, and they're like, and they simply are like, I don't want to see her win. Like she,
Mm,
where's my value in this relationship? If she's
right.
out here doing this, I'm supposed to be the provider. And you have said this over and over again. Today's man needs personality. Y'all can't just have money. Like, and that's the part where people get really upset. Like, you got to have some kind of personality. I was asking, and I'm not even gonna say I'm dating this young prince. We're hanging out. This young prince, I was like, do you like to talk? And I asked that just because I wanted to know if he had something else to bring to the table. And the young prince was like, yeah, I do. I'm not talkative, but I do like to talk. So in short, I was like, talk to me about your personality. Who are you? Because
Mhm.
you can't just be, you know what I mean? Act like you broke. You have all,
I know, right? I'm like, you have all the money in the world. What?
you have all the money in the world. Let me tell you, I started to adopt that too. That's another philosophy, but I digress. But the whole dating thing is so bizarre. And I love that
So
Jamel.
wait, when you asked him about, does he have, like asking him about his personality, like how did he receive that?
I think that made him think. I think that no one has asked him that because of the way he looks and who he is. And I feel like it's not required. I don't think the women he normally dates, they don't require that. They like the idea of who he is. And I want to be able to be stimulated mentally. I want you to be able
Mhm.
to talk to me about the world with, and different perspectives and receive what I'm saying and all this other kind of stuff. And that's crazy because you know, men don't normally have to do that. Not if they look a certain way, act a certain way, like a hot chick. It's like a
Yeah.
hot chick.
Yes, I think it's very similar. Like there's a lot of very gorgeous women who have very lame personalities.
Zero.
you know?
I mean,
But
a full lame. And most men, most men I know say, I'll date a lame hot chick all day. If she don't have to talk, that's better. Because at the end of the day, do they really want you to talk? What men really want at the end of the day, I think, is a dope chick that don't talk too much and just sit there and be pretty.
that's it.
So
Well, it's funny because I recently had this conversation with Ian because we were discussing who settles more in a relationship, men or women. And I was like, I think it's men by far.
you think men settle?
Yes. You know why? Because it's what you just said. Now, Carrie, think about it. How many married men or men in relationships do we know that we could tell they don't even like their wives? They don't even like the partner that they're with or whatever. And men will have a very basic criteria. Like you just said, I just want good looking, dope. She quiet when I need her to be quiet. And it's like, but that doesn't say anything about like her personality, about does she make you laugh? Can she expose you to new things? Like how do you connect and relate? Like they do not care about those things.
Yeah, you're so right. I think about things that have been said to me over the years. This one dude I used to date, we would spend and nothing's wrong with this, but we would spend so much time together, food, sex, and
But
silence.
Chris Rock
Literally,
said,
food, sex, and silence. And we go the whole day and not talk. And I was like, we haven't talked all day. He said, isn't that wonderful? I'm like, no, I want to talk. Isn't it nice? The silence, just nothing happening. I'm like, no, I want to talk. But you're right. Men probably, I don't think they look at it as settling though, because at the end of the day, men just don't want to be disturbed. I don't think
yes,
they consider it settling. They
correct.
just need peace. And so peace may look like they're settling, but at the end of the day, like the path of least resistance. And if she happens to be hot and she lets me do what I want, as one of our folks said in the group chat, the comments was, let that man cheat in peace. Like, just as long as you're not bothering me, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of
But Carrie, if you think about it, that's a really shitty base level criteria. Just don't bother me.
Can,
Okay.
you're right. We see that as settling, but they don't. Like the whole thing about like just the basic minimums. Here's the thing. When people, you will like some basic things that you should have in a relationship. You should pay while you're courting. You should be kind. You should be respectful. All of that is basic. And if we're asking for these things, I don't even know if that makes sense. If we're asking for these things, we want you to be just that basic. Like, to me, that's basic. You want me to be polite. You want me to be nice to your friends. You want me to be a decent human. All of that should just come with the packaging. All the other stuff is extra. And so you're right. Men do settle, but I don't think they look at it as settling. I do think.
No, because I think that's just how they have been able to view relationships. And it's why that you run into women who are wondering sometimes. And I don't think this is necessarily a great example or one-to-one, because I think your friend group and what you have going on with your spouse or significant other or whatever is different. Like, those are different types of relationships. But there are definitely, I remember a friend that I know, him and his girl, one of their issues was she sees him doing all these great things with his friends, like they going to Top Golf, they doing all this, and then she like, so when it's me, how come you never want to do anything like active or have the type of fun with me that you have with your friends? And I think a lot of it is because, men, as you said, they look at it as just don't give me no trouble. And I'm like, but there are pets who can do that.
There's a theory happening right now. Scott Galloway talks about this a lot on his podcast, about how men are being left behind in a lot of different ways, right? And it's not so much, I just feel like we're overcomplicating it sometimes. They just want things to be a lot more simple than how we move and think. We you know how you could just be sitting there staring? There's something always on your mind. You can't turn it off. Men will be staring at nothing, and it's just static. You remember when the TV used to go to static? It's just static, and a woman's like,
girl, these kids too young for that. They don't know about how the TV actually used to go off.
The Wi-Fi's not working. It's just not
right.
The Wi-Fi ain't, you trying to get online, and it ain't connecting. So that's what I'm saying. They're not plugged in. They're not connected. They're not even thinking, I need to be connected. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I just think, it just depends. But, the whole dating thing to me is so funny, because we've been having this conversation. We were at Tommy's house all weekend, and all of these different things, men just are like, men don't want to be interrogated. Just make me a sandwich and let me watch the NBA conference finals without hearing we need to talk. Timing is everything. Yeah, let me just, like, that's a real statement. Like, don't come in the room with me asking me questions while the game is on. Like, I don't want to talk to you. By the way, that's why they would love me, because I'm not talking to you during the game.
I was gonna say, it's like, I don't also want to talk during the game.
That's a different group of chicks. Like, we won't.
Right. I was like,
in fact,
I've never done that.
In fact, don't ask me no questions. What is going on?
Why you playing? Like, stop asking me to explain shit, because like,
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your thoughts. I don't care what you think. I was watching a game this weekend, girl. It was Minnesota and OKC. That was a good game. Did you watch it?
It was a great game.
My favorite part, though, about watching a game with a bunch of dudes is their commentary, even though it's like the most ridiculous thing you could ever hear. But like, when somebody wasn't making the basket, not today, not tonight, try it again. Or like when somebody just takes the ball down and they not sharing the ball, that's selfish. That's a selfish fool right there. Look at that selfish N-word right there. Like, it's so funny, and it makes me laugh so hard. I watched the game like this, though. I'm making the shots. Like when SGA was going up for a three, I was like, like when he hit it, you know what I mean? I'm
like, you feel it too. You felt like you hit it.
I'm so physical with the game. I'm like, that was nasty. I'm like watching it like this. Like, you can't watch a basketball game with me. Jamel knows this. You will be.
Yes. You damn sure can't watch a Lakers game with you ever. Because you will see, listen, I'm going to just tell y'all this right now.
It's painful.
Unless you want to see some truly unhinged behavior, don't ever watch a Lakers game with Carrie.
I don't like going to watch games in public because I'm not, it's not pretty.
I'm not mature enough. I say that. I'm not mature enough to watch any Michigan State sports.
I'm not mature enough. I'm not mature enough to watch a Laker game. I think that one, OKC is going to win. That's the first thing.
Oh, okay. You think they're going to win it all or win this series?
So who going to win the NBA Finals? Should we change the question? Because
yeah, sure. We'll do that.
Or was there something else that we should go to?
No, we can talk about that. No, so you think OKC is going to win it all?
I listen.
Wait, what did the fella say who you was with? No, I'm just kidding.
I wasn't even listening to him. I don't know yeah, girl, I don't even know. They didn't matter. All I know is that their commentary was like, not today. Try again. Every time somebody missed a basket, not today. Try again. Selfish. Go again. Da-da-da. Like, I was just like, no, I would I don't know if OKC will win. I don't know, but I do like the idea. And if you're a Knicks fan, don't get mad at me, because if the Knicks make a comeback, I wouldn't be surprised. But I could see Pacers, OKC, and I could see, you know what I see with Pacers and OKC? That's the dawn of the new generation.
The league, what you would see is the league spinning itself off a building because of the rating.
They're like, OKC, Indiana, but the reality is, the stars are there. The same with the Knicks, right? Yeah. It would be great if the Knicks could do it. And if the refs and they went at, like, it would be great, right? It would be great. It'd be great for Madison Square Garden. The Garden be eating again. You got to watch that 30 for 30 when the Garden was eating.
Yeah, that was very good.
In the 70s that our boy Michael Rappaport directed and produced. I'm saying that that would be beautiful. But the Pacers, it looked like they got their number to me. And if the Knicks win tonight, great. Pacers feel like Hallie is special. I know they said, some people said he was overrated, but he's looking real special to me, even though he likes to play in the snow all day and don't care about nothing else. He looks real special.
Carrie, why you bring it up?
Because like, y'all keep calling him all these names. Y'all be doing it. I was like, I don't care about that. Like, I wouldn't kill this
God.
Man. Yeah, no God. Let this man live. Let this man and his dad live. Let this man.
Yes.
Do you think?
I'm glad his dad is now allowed back. Super glad about that.
But I hope he don't mess it up. He don't seem like somebody
who he'll be all right. I think
he
learned
like somebody who learned a lesson.
Yeah,
how
I think
he does not look like he learned. Okay,
you don't think so?
He don't look like he learns lessons. In fact, did you see that? Did you watch a game and they did a fan cutaway shot of him somewhere at a bar, and he was just
he was all yes, but he's in the bar, so it's all right. Okay. Well, Carrie's here and there, I like to, as they say, bet the ponies. And my money literally is on OKC. I made the bet before the NBA season started. I put money on OKC to win it all. So still sticking with that pick, but I'm intrigued by this new era that we're in, because if you look at it, and as a Laker fan, you can speak to this, like, you have lived through Laker dynasties before. I don't know when the next time we'll see an actual dynasty, because whoever wins this year, they're not about to rattle off back-to-backs. They're not about to win 3 of the next 5. They're not about to do what we saw Golden State just do, because I think we're in that era now where I think this idea of one dominant team that builds a dynasty is just not happening.
It's not happening anymore. We watched a couple of transitions, right? We're old enough to remember when my Lakers used to kill y'all Detroit Pistons, right?
I'm sorry. We won every single title against y'all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Y'all, I got to tell you about it. One time, Jemele and I have only gotten in one real argument, maybe 2, because we've been friends forever. But the one argument, I put her out on the side of the freeway and made her walk all the way back to Bristol, Connecticut, because she was talking that shit.
Because she was disrespecting Isaiah Thomas. That's why she was disrespecting my king, my NBA king.
She's such a hypocrite. I'll tell this story. Here we go. Follow me, story time. Pull up a chair, sit at my knee, and listen to the truth. We are on our way home from some event in New York, and we got into a conversation about how somehow we were talking about Magic versus Isaiah. I'm clearly from LA. I love Magic Johnson, but he is, as you well know, from Saginaw. He went to Michigan State.
He is from Lansing, Michigan.
Sorry, Lansing. He's from the state that she's from.
Yes.
And so I literally was like, oh, you don't like him no more? You were like, no, because he didn't play for the Pistons. I love Isaiah when Isaiah was kicking y'all butt, and he kicked Magic's butt. And that's why Magic don't like Isaiah.
I might be misremembering this a little, but go ahead.
In short, your whole point was that Magic and Isaiah didn't fool with each other no more because Isaiah started to beat him. Correct?
Correct.
Incorrect.
And Magic has even said the finals, when they scrap, changed their friendship forever. It's like, well, until recently, I should say, somewhat recently, where they've had the come to Jesus meeting. They're all good now.
I don't know about that, but
they are all good.
Yeah, in theory. So, but I do know that Jemele tried to then start the argument of who was the better human being. And so we started going through people's discretions. We
sure did.
Way off the court into their personal lives. You're like, well, who did this? And who did that? And who did this? And who did that? You know what I mean? And it was like we were in the car legitimately arguing about who the better human being was. Neither one of us know. Like
we have no idea.
We have no clue.
We have no idea.
But I like how now she live in LA and she a full Laker fan, but she's trying to pretend like
I am not a Laker fan. I have never been a Laker fan. Magic Johnson, I give him all the credit in the world. He made me love the NBA. You know, he got to the NBA 2 years before Isaiah Thomas did, right? And so just what was happening in LA was exciting. And then when they drafted Isaiah, it was a seismic shift in Detroit because of that. And so Isaiah's been my favorite NBA player ever. Okay. And, you know, of course, given everything that he's done.
Isaiah Thomas is your favorite NBA player ever?
Oh, yeah, it's Isaiah Thomas. Like, and nobody comes close. I mean,
well, that's so interesting. Growing up for me, it was always Magic because that was my
makes sense.
But then when I, got old enough to know what I know, it quickly became Kobe because
Do you think Kobe is the greatest Laker ever?
All time. But in people who love Kareem or will fight me till I'm done. I don't think Kareem gets enough love because it's a popularity contest and he was never just popular. He missed that season and he's not an affable person. But Magic changed the game. He created Showtime, which is what people like this. To me, I remember speaking to Mr. Lakeup, who owns the Golden State Warriors, and he was like, "Yeah, no, we fashioned our first dynasty off of Magic and the Showtime Lakers. He's giving a show." So for that, you're right. Magic did change the game. That's why we were watching the finals, not on tape delayed no more, because people want to see him and Larry, all of those things. Magic to me has contributed in a way that just doesn't make sense to the game in general. He was my favorite player, but I wasn't able to enjoy him because of the AIDS, he retired, came back. I couldn't really enjoy him and pay attention to him when it was like my prime time. Okay. Kobe came in and I went through all of the bevy of emotions with Kobe. He made me mad. He can't eat whatever. We like you, we don't like you. But at the end of the day, I related to Kobe the most because of how he came back and won a championship on his own without any help. So I loved him for that.
Yeah, that is true. You did get to see multiple versions of Kobe. You saw
so 8 and 4. Give it to me, all of it. He was everything. And for me, in my generation, now there's somebody who's going to tell you that LeBron is the greatest player of all time, not necessarily the greatest Laker, but one of the greatest players of all time. And I understand that. But we started talking about dynasties. To your point, we'll never see. Not never. I think it's going to be a long time before we see another dynasty. I think the Golden State Warriors gave us a hint at that, but they weren't like the Lakers. They weren't like the Boston Celtics. Like, I just don't know, or Jordan for that matter. Like, when will we see that kind of dominant player again? I mean,
6 out of 8 championships. I mean, 2 3-peats for Michael Jordan is what I mean, because he took the 2 years off from basketball. As he was winning these titles. I'm with you. I don't think we will ever see that again. But with the greatest Laker, I don't know. This is hard because I totally agree with everything you said about Kobe. But I guess just thinking about who made the Lakers into what they are, into this premier marquee franchise, it was Magic.
It was Magic.
He was the one who did it.
It was Larry Bird too, because it was the battle. Like, people tuned in for that. It was the storyline that the NBA needed. But Magic said on SportsCenter to me, he believes Kobe.
I've heard him say this publicly, and not that I'm surprised by it, but it was one of those situations when he first said it. I was like, love you, Magic, respect you, but you're wrong. I'm gonna tell you, you're wrong. It is you. You're the greatest Laker ever.
Well, maybe he did it on the humble, the same way that MJ don't like to tell people he's the greatest player of all time.
But I could see Magic really believing that. So I don't think he was just trying to be humble. I think he honestly believes that is Kobe. But I just think it's him because of what he meant to
consider the team. Magic he brought the excitement, but he played with Kareem. He played with
Kobe played with Shaq. I mean,
Michael Cooper. Who's our other boy?
He had Cooper, he had Byron Scott, he had Kurt Rambis, he had James Worthy. Yes,
he had James. He had a Kobe, when he had Shaq, but when Shaq left, everybody said it was a wrap. Kobe did it with Pau Gasol. And Pau Gasol, he used to tell Pau Gasol, you got to go harder. Like, it's just me and you. And if we're going to win this, you got to go harder. And to me, his circumstances, he had Smush Parker. I just have a hard time.
I remember that team, that Chris Parker, that's Smush Parker, Chris Mims team.
or oh boy, who would Walton. The big tall dude who would pop up, Andrew Bynum.
Andrew Bynum.
It disappeared. Kobe was able to win chips with very similarly to me, the way Tom Brady could just put in pieces and do it. Like, and he had some great receivers, but Tom Brady didn't have no all-star lineup. You know what I mean? He's had some, but like Kobe was able to do a lot with a little. Is
I
what I'm.
mean, his teams were built. Actually, it was really similar to how they built Michael Jordan's teams, right? Where you had great perimeter defenders. Remember, he had Ron Artest, and who also provided some edge. Ron Artest was,
was just like, I'm just leaning in. If he was here, I want to fight you. Yes, Ron was great, but
Ron was great.
Do you understand this? And Rick Fox, yes, but do you understand the circumstances of what you have to be to bring a team like that together?
Yes, well, but Paul Gasol was definitely one of the most skilled big men in the league. But I know what you mean. I get what you're saying, and because he won in two different types of ways. One with a team that a lot of people think that the Lakers with Shaq, that 3-peat team,
best team ever,
might be the best team ever. So
worked it out, and so do they. I wish they could have figured it out, and so do they.
Yes, yeah. I mean, but I don't mind that they didn't. I'm happy that they were able to mend their friendship. And the only reason why I say that is that sometimes, and you know this based off Kobe's personality, somebody who is that great and that driven and that motivated, they need to see if they could do it, quote, alone.
Mm-hmm.
They need to see that. And Shaq is the most dominant big man ever, but I think to some degree, he felt like he was being held back. And I don't know if Kobe could have lived with that because,
Shaq felt like he was being held back?
No, Kobe felt like he was being held back by Shaq. Because remember, especially...
Shaq at one point was the most dominant player in the league. He changed the game. He changed the rules, of course. Yes. Let me tell you something. I was a bigger Shaq fan for a very long time before
Kobe?
I was a Kobe fan. I was Shaq all day. Like Kobe was like, when he went on the radio and was like, I want out of here. I was like, well, deuces, Bruce's. You know what I mean? Like, I was real mad. I was like, where are we going with Shaq? Okay. I digress. Yeah, no, I don't know. Kobe to me is the greatest Laker ever. I got to talk to you about real quickly about our last topic that got everybody all upset about Caitlin Clark.
Ooh, what is this?
Now, she out the game for she's got a couple of weeks. She's gone because she had, I think she said a sprained or a strained something is strained.
Quadricep might be the injury.
I really have a hard time when I see things that go viral, where people are criticizing Angel Reese and talking about Caitlin Clark from people who've never talked women's basketball ever in the history of life. So there was this comedian who's known for just being real mean to Black women. He used to always come in my head when I was on First Take and just
wait. I think I can guess who that comedian is. I know exactly who it is, and we also have beef.
He hates women.
Yeah, this is very clear. Yes,
it's very clear he does not fool with Black women. And the fact that went viral it made me angry because it's like, why is this even a thing? Why do we care about his opinion on women's sports? Is it because he's a man and he's talking sports, or is it because of the content and what he's saying? Is it because he's talking bad about Angel Reese and people want to hear more of that? That gets more traction. I'm fascinated by the philosophy that when these outlets like the Shade Room or Ball Alert picks up something like that, why they feel like that is news when people like us are sitting here giving real content about what we think and being honest, and that necessarily doesn't qualify. So you take a man who's never talked sports, and that is the problem with the way this women's game is being covered. I heard Sue Bird, which she created a new podcast too. I heard her talking about it. She goes, for whatever reasons, mainstream media keeps missing the message. If the women don't care when they go at it, and if they don't care that they don't like each other, why are we making it a big deal? She said exactly what I said. I said, so what if Angel don't like her? So what?
You've been saying this.
Don't get along. So what? If the players don't care, then why do we? Why is this even a conversation? And so the call to action is for people with any kind of platform that deals with women's sports. We have to stop making such a big deal out of stuff that don't matter. It just does not matter. It doesn't matter. How many times you see some real tough fouls, like when Halle was like this, and he pointed at when Halliburton was like that and pointed at Reggie Miller. Do you know if Angel made any?
Oh my God! If she did that, the internet would have melted.
They choked.
Yes,
the internet would have melted.
I mean, the reality is this, Cari, is that we know that women, there's a double standard about how women compete. And the other problem I have with how the commentary is shaped and you said it very eloquently, is that the issue is that you have a lot of men who are able to credibly lead with what they don't know. How many women's sports conversations, and especially about this league and even these players, they have started it with, well, I don't really follow the league, but take my opinion seriously anyway. We can't do that. Cari, you can't be on anybody's NFL show, hosting anybody's sports show, and start any conversation with leading with what you don't know about that sport and anybody take you seriously. And yet, for some reason, men, just by virtue of them being men, right?
And we're talking about Aries Spears, right?
That's who you're talking about? Okay, because there was another one I was thinking of too.
You talking about Corey Holcomb?
Yeah, that's who I thought you were talking about.
You got beef for Corey? You got beef for Corey? I don't have beef for Corey. But
I got beef for Corey.
I have things he say is problematic, but is it Ari? How do you say his name? Ari Spears?
Aries Spears. Yes. So
he's problematic. They just should not be allowed to talk about women's sports when I know you don't care about it till recently.
And you're a comedian, for crying out loud. I'm not saying that everybody has a right to their opinion, but to your point, how
we consume that.
Yes, how seriously we take that opinion is on us. And then their opinion becomes narrative. And it's like, wait a minute, you don't even talk about women's sports except for to denigrate and not with any level of credibility. As you said, why are we even taking you seriously?
Or I want the outlets to do better. I just want you to be like,
well, Cari, you already know.
I'm requiring too much.
They're not going to do better. There's a whole lot of content they could do better in that is outside of this, and they're not going to do that. So, but yes, and sort of my other problem with too is like, if you like Caitlin Clark more than you like Angel Reese, there's no crime in that. No. What I hate, and we see this a lot with men's sports too, so it's not unique to women. And this is when I can immediately tell that you on some bullshit, is that you don't have to elevate Caitlin Clark and to talk about how great she is. You don't have to then say false, harsh, crazy things about Angel Reese.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to say, like, I think Caitlin Clark's great, Angel Reese can't play. And it's like, she's a professional, dude. Like, what are we talking about? All right.
At the end of the day, I know it's horrible to say, but it's so true. All of it is necessary to grow the sport so people can pay attention, because we do need our Birds and Magics. We need WNBA to give us a Michael Jordan. We need a Paige Beckers who I don't know, it's too soon to, and I don't want to make her the male equivalent of anybody. I don't want to make any of these women the male equivalent, but we do need these storylines so people can pay attention to the league, so then they can really understand what the league is about.
And you know what's interesting? I'm glad you brought up Paige, because low key, and this is how you know the media is really failing at its job, right? Nobody has talked about how Paige Beckers is playing. And the reason why, and Paige is struggling right now. Like, struggling.
Well, and she's, of course, it's a transition.
And she's allowed to, because she's a rookie. It's okay.
It's a transition. Yeah, you don't come in and you don't own the league. That's why. Sorry, go on. Finish your thought.
Oh, no, I was just going to say Paige is struggling, and they were trying to push all these narratives about how Caitlin Clark was unnecessarily attacked and all this other stuff in terms of on the court. And, they didn't want her to be great. And all Diana Taurasi said was, as soon as you get here, we're coming at your neck, because our job is to hold down our job, and our job is to compete. And Paige has struggled.
Of course.
She has struggled.
To put on some more weight. She needs to get in the gym, just like Caitlin did. Caitlin came back this year, and yes, they were knocking her around. And this year, she's like, all right, I got it. I've been in the gym. I've been talking to some mentors. This is what it is. LeBron will tell you, they used to beat the hell out of him when he got to the league. Great story. I mean, come on. They used to go all day.
Yes, it's just everybody has revisionist history. And I don't know if it's just because I'm 2,000 years old. I remember all of these things. But today I was talking to our friend Candace Parker, who soon here.
Yeah. Yes.
Who's soon here in Los Angeles, as you know, will have her jersey retired. And Candace was reliving stories from when she was a rookie. And I mean, I would show y'all the footage, but we ain't paying for all that. But her rookie year, like the entire Detroit Shock team tried to fight her. Like, she was getting knocked on her ass all the time. And she told practice stories about how the stuff that Lisa Leslie and Delisha Milton would be doing to her in practice, like not playing around, not playing any games. And she was like, I had to I had to get stronger. I had to realize like all that little bullshit I used to do at Tennessee wasn't working here.
Because it's a professional league, and I don't think that we even say that, for one. And two, there is an adjustment. And three, we have to stop letting people tell us how women should play. Like the socialization of women in professional sports, because as we have said, we old enough to remember when fools were like, oh, here are the top 10 hottest tennis players. It wasn't even about what they
Oh
did.
yeah, I remember that.
You got it. It was about the only time women would get any coverage is if they were hot, like if they were attractive. And it's like, y'all got to be better. Like, and this is what I love about the Pages and the Caitlins and the Angels of the world and the Satus, who are all these women now, obviously the Stewies, everyone has, but there is a, not necessarily a reckoning, but there is this is who we've been, this is who we are, and we're being very unapologetic. The league is starting to become unapologetic, and that's why they're going to have to change leadership, because the leadership has to be.
I totally agree.
And so leadership is unapologetic about how these women play and what they deserve and what they need. You'll start seeing more personalities, because the reality is that Serena, one of my favorite athletes of all time, male or female, she was unapologetic because she couldn't help but be anything but who she was. And no matter how much she polarized people tuned in to see Venus and Serena because they were just themselves 100%. No matter you like it or not, you didn't like their attitude, they didn't smile enough for you. You thought they had to smile while they were playing tennis because tennis is polite. No. And you used to let John McEnroe run up and down. And your favorite, Kyrgios, your favorite.
That's my boy.
Yo boo. I told Ian you had a crush on him. You almost got in trouble. Like, they run around here saying and doing, and you have to let women be the same way. And once women are freed in sports, our society is going to change so much about how women are perceived in the workspace. It all works together, because you've been considered a troublemaker forever. That's because you got an opinion and you always have something to say.
Right.
And who asked you, to our earlier conversation with dating? You women need to shut up. Y'all talk too much.
I think but I don't know if people are going to change. I think the women have to really dig into the word that you use, which is be unapologetic about how they play.
Change, but men are going to change, because men are raising the daughters who want to play in the league, and they're going to start seeing their attitudes. Like men and daughters and dads are bonding in different ways while watching football and basketball now. And when their daughter says, I want to play, they're going to be okay with that. Like every man that I've ever met that has a daughter that plays sports is okay with that little bit of that edge that they like.
They probably taught them to do it, right? I assume, or at least coached them to do it. Like, that's okay. And it is a shame, because a lot of time men don't understand what it's like to constantly deal with this scrutiny, with these kind of outdated expectations until they have daughters. And it shouldn't take them having daughters to realize this, but sometimes that's what it takes.
It's a man's world. There's a song about it. Have you heard it?
I am familiar with Mr. James Brown. So yes, that definitely rings to be true. Well,
can we wrap this up with my birthday?
Yes, I'm going to say our time is up. You said, can we wrap it up with, what would you like to wrap it up with?
Just with my Jamel's throwing me a birthday dinner, and they're only inviting 4 people, and she's not even one of the 4. That's the crazy.
I'm trying to get in where I can fit in. I might sneak in. I'm gonna jump out from behind the bushes of wherever your dinner is and come and crash it.
Well, and it's not that I hate my birthday. I think for me is that, and I said this to you, I think that I'm in such a space now that I really want to be reflective on my birthday, and I want to do it in a safe space. And sometimes if you don't feel safe, then you can't do it with people who don't make you feel safe. And that's where I'm at right now for my birthday. Like, that's what I want. And that's why I'm taking this trip. I'm going away to live a life that
I have. Right. Leave us behind here in the ghetto of America.
Yes, because I want to. You got your nerve when your birthday come up. Not only are you be hitting us with how fine you are, you about to leave the country for a good hot minute. We may not see Jemele ever. She's like, I'm out of here. Done. I did this thing called American life. I'm about to do it.
I'm just saying, y'all, if y'all don't hear from me,
these European streets ain't coming back.
I'm gonna be in these international streets, that's for sure. Well, Cari, just know that we want to make sure for your birthday that we create that safe environment that you deserve and are worthy of. So we will be doing
that. Friend. That's why she one of my best friends, y'all. So we'll be back at the same time. 1 p.m. We were late today. So
we were a little late today. I mean, will we? Because next week is
Oh no, I'm gonna give you a good 30 minutes while I'm in next.
Okay, because I was like, you do realize you're gonna be in these international, you're gonna be in these streets next week, right?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We possibly could be back. Just act like we are. Don't worry about it. Just act like we are. We'll figure it out.
1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. Today we had to do a little late. We love y'all so much, though. We're doing really well.
Yes, and thank you all. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Cari's YouTube page, Naked with Cari Champion, and also like and subscribe to mine. Catch us both on CNN, and you all can catch me here tomorrow for my usual Wednesday YouTube live. I'm going to be talking about the 5th anniversary of George Floyd being murdered. So unfortunately, a little heavier than what we went through today.
Definitely heavier. I'm going to text you something, so make sure you answer your text. Or can you just end it and then I ask you when the people go home?
Yes, you can. We just gonna end it now. All right, bye, y'all.